Question for you guys.
No, I don't think true love is real.
Like, how are you going to be good at Monopoly? How is one even good at Monopoly? And then I proceed to beat them over the head.
At me being 16 years old and having Efrain at such a young age, and then having you at 21, right?
How is that? How do you think you're going to be able to like take that journey, essentially?
Homie, let me answer that question. You're about to make her cry without even meaning it.
Like, together without having to go to a movie theater. Yeah. It's like most people would probably have to most people TikTok over and over and over again. And I kid you not, I'll literally hit a rotate on my chair and grandma's and it's playing over.
To a new episode of the Mom and Sons Talk Show. Again, we have no plans because we really don't sit here and plan these out. If I had to be honest, it's more like talk and go. We got a new setup going, new location, as you guys can see, not a big ass couch anymore. It's very interesting because that's the OG. Yeah, let us know how you feel for sure. And this one's pretty cool. I think it does need some type of work, and we're also like planning on like better timings of recording because it's like nighttime right now, so we're planning on better times to record these.
And then we might take it outside.
Yeah, we might take it outside too. I think the lighting's pretty good. So I think the lighting's pretty okay as far as like the lighting goes. My hair's all messed up because I really didn't put my hair up or nicely, so whatever, we're just gonna do and rock it just like how it is. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's have a nice conversation about we don't know, and let's go in. We are having ice cream. This episode does consist of having ice cream. If any ice cream companies do want to sponsor us, hey, be the first. We have the first, and we would love that. My mom loves ice cream, so yeah, we are looking for some ice cream sponsorships.
We'll take most sponsorships, really. Just to say, I mean.
Yeah, we would take any, to be honest. Yeah.
I'm done to check out anything.
But as a start, we'll let mom start this topic of how wherever she wants to start off in, and we'll go from there. So it's all yours. Here you go. Oh, and what's next is mics. We need proper mics. Like, these aren't bad, but there's only two, and I haven't learned how to connect it. Like, if I got another two or not. So, working on all of that, and we're working on getting the different mics. We're gonna try to get 4 mics. So if we have a guest, which those will be coming soon. Here you go. Okay.
I didn't know the mics were magnetic.
Yeah.
Found that out because it connected to the spoon.
So, I'm freezing today.
You're freezing today. Interesting. How?
So what would you say is your comfort food?
Comfort food.
Or a snack, and why? Mine is ice cream, obviously. I'm obsessed with ice cream, and I spam ice cream. So if you know that I'm like super stressed out by the amount of ice cream I eat a week. When I don't eat a lot of ice cream,
it's a good week.
It's a good week. So what about you guys?
I'm gonna get Victor, and he's gonna say pizza.
I think it's my comfort food. I just really like pizza.
Yeah, that's my guess. I would say Victor.
But you like cold pizza.
I do. I love cold pizza.
Which is interesting.
I can't talk about a certain pizza. We're not branded with them, unfortunately. But there's a certain pizza out there that when I have it cold, it's just so good.
Yeah. I would have to say my comfort food is Italian food. I can't do pizza, but everything else. Pasta would be the number one. My comfort food is pasta for sure, hands down. Love pasta.
Realistically, I think mine is
That's because when I was pregnant of you guys, I ate a lot of pizza.
pasta.
I think for sure it was a lot of spaghetti.
Well, I think that's gonna be really fun for you because my answer was gonna be they're called Airhead Extreme, the Chewies. And if I go to any road trip, do literally anything for a prolonged amount of time, I'll slam a bag of those. They're so good.
They are. They're really good.
And it just gets me just like,
What is it about
vibe.
ice cream that gets you hooked on it?
Well, I think that, I don't know, I always feel like it just, you know, there's a brain thing that goes through.
it cools down your brain.
No,
Look at
it just makes you so, it just, I don't know, it just brings me so, it makes me so happy. It's like whenever I walk into Disney, it's the same thing. You know, I get, when I,
Hey.
it's the same thing. I just feel so
Interesting. So let's talk about this setup.
happy.
Let's talk about this setup. I think, well, I don't think, I know. My mom was the one that went out and purchased everything. She said, this is what I have. We are missing a piece, which I didn't notice where it went. The bookshelf.
It doesn't fit. I have it in the guest room.
But we could make it fit.
Where?
In that corner, right here, make some space. But yeah, so the
I
other
don't know
part was
why
a
the
bookshelf.
camera's not here. And then I feel like the camera would be better if you just prop it up here. And then you can move that one
that chair would be better there. But
here.
it's different layouts that we're testing out. And Rogi wants to be in the scene. All right. Come on, Rogi. Get down. All right.
She wants ice cream like me.
She does. So back to what I was saying. So we got down that you got the whole idea. What was it that made you get like this specific like chair and stuff like that? What did you like about it? Or why did you pick this layout first?
So we go from having ice cream and talking about comfort food to the setup. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
comfort setup.
Yeah,
Comfort setup.
Here you go.
I just wanted something that felt more homey, I guess. I mean, I like the couch downstairs, and I feel like we're
I love
inviting
that couch.
we're inviting our community into our home,
Our
right?
atmosphere.
Our atmosphere. Yeah, exactly. We're inviting people to our spot. But I felt like, you know, this area could be our designated area to do our films and, you know, talk to people and invite people to come and be our guest speakers. We have a list of people that
Want to be on it?
want to be on it already. So I just think that it would have been just nice to have that. I like the setups that you sent me. And eventually maybe, you know, we could get something like that. But I was like, you know, it's just us talking. So I felt, what's more comfort than couches and chairs, right? And I like these chairs. I mean, I thought about pink chairs, but, you know, it wasn't voted. You guys did not vote for the pink chairs. So then I was like, okay, we're going to go with brown.
That's interesting.
Like Ruby?
Yeah, Ruby's the cutest.
With a little, Chloe, you're cute too. Don't crush Gambit though.
So that's what made it. What do you guys think? Well, do you like it? Do you prefer something different?
Like usual, I'm indifferent. I don't really care. As long as I get to do this, I don't really mind.
Okay.
I think it's a nice layout. I like the white with the brown kind of matches. And our walls are like that off-white. So it's a mix of like that both. It blends in really good. I think it's a really good idea. Do we have different like layouts that we could be doing? Yeah. And that's what it's really for. We can get different layouts, make different videos, and really see which one we like the best, and ultimately make that final decision. And just to add on to like what you were saying, I really do like that idea for us where we're giving people that feeling of at home. Because like for us, we're not dressed properly, or we're not dressed like
I look like a hot mess in the past couple of ones.
exactly, and it's not bad though, because it really does give people that opportunity of, hey, you know, it's a homey feeling. You're being welcome to our house. You're feeling like you're here. You don't have to feel like, you gotta change or anything like that. We want you to just feel part of us,
For sure. Our 6 dogs.
And that's another thing, like our dogs, like there's not a lot of podcasts out there that you really see people's dogs.
They think it's unprofessional, but I think there's a certain good thing about being unprofessional when it comes to stuff like this, right?
Well, I think
It's good to, here we can be very free spirited.
And that's the thing, like I feel like it all depends on what you're doing, like what your niche is. You don't want to have like dogs in like a business podcast.
Yeah.
But like if you're like at home podcast like we are, and we talk and we sit and we have different conversations and different debates about different things, sure, like it's a homey vibe,
well,
I really can't tell whether or not they can see Hennessy on the camera, you know that?
They can, but they can't see her head.
She's like a black speck imprinted on the camera. And that's it, she's gonna go to sleep right there.
I think that when I look at my dogs, they're a part of me, and so this is a conversation, And still, I mean, dogs serve a lot of different purposes in people's lives. They're also comfort, right? They're also at home, They're also making you feel part of something, Appreciated, loved, gratitude.
For sure.
You get all of that from
Rogue's
dogs.
very vocal about her love.
She's just staring at me. She wants my ice cream. But I'm not going to give you any of my ice cream. Because I don't share my ice cream. So.
Damn it.
But
Big shout out to all the dog lovers.
100%. Dog lives matter.
Yeah. It's not that some of us more than others are big cat people, but we just don't like the idea of like a litter box and stuff. So, and it's also like, we like the idea of having like someone that wants to like hang out with you all the time, and cats are not those types of animals. Cats are very much hang out with me when I want to, and then
Leave me alone.
yeah, leave me alone.
what's your favorite ice cream?
Depends on my mood. I think when I'm ever in a state of mind where like I want something like, and I don't want to feel like I'm eating ice cream all the time, I'll get like peanut butter. If I want something a little different, I'll get Moose Tracks. I love Moose Tracks. And then if I really just want to go all the way, I'll get like birthday cake remix. Is like if I just wanna
Yeah.
get as much sugar in me as physically possible.
I almost convinced Efrain to get me birthday cake remix. They almost. Then he's like, it's gonna be $40.
I'm a stingy person when it comes to my money. When it comes to money, I'm cheap, bro. I got that from my godmother. I love her for that. I'm cheap. What can I say? But,
I'm gonna finish this bucket of ice cream and you guys are not.
well, mine's almost done. I have to stop because I eat too fast.
Mine's not.
Mine's almost done. Let's see. I have this like thing where I'm like mix in between, and I'm debating on a couple things, right? And it all depends on like where God really guides me to. And I've had this idea of going to the Air Force for so long, And I want everybody's like thought about it, right? Like, because right now I'm working on my own business, right? So I'm starting my own business, and I think it's going pretty well. I haven't gotten myself out there yet, but like practicing on what I'm gonna be doing from now on, or like what that business is, and then on top of that, practicing a lot of different things that what I'm doing, right? Then I have trading that's going really good too. But then I'm thinking about the Air Force, and I want the Air Force because I do love this country that I live in, but I want to take an opportunity with that free college or free schooling and be able to go back to school and get my degree, my bachelor's in finance, right? And after that, whatever it's after that, but I don't know, like I have these thoughts, and my thing is like I'm scared that while I'm in the Air Force while I'm in the Air Force by trading, I become successful, then I have, let's say for an example, a 3-year contract left. And it's like I can't buy myself out. I'm pretty much stuck for 3 years, which is not a bad thing because whatever, I'll be rich in the Army or in the Air Force, whatever. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to lose that opportunity because it's still something that can benefit my future family for generations to come, right? Because when you serve, it's not just you, it's your kids and your grandkids and all of that. That whole thing changes, even like brothers and sisters and stuff like that. So it's a very big, different, very, very, very interesting thing. So I have a lot of pros to both of them, and I have a lot of cons to both of them. I even thought about like going and finding a job at like a bank where they'll pay for my school if I go for finance. But it's just like, I don't know what I should do. Because again, like, I don't know, I'm doing really good in trading, but I don't know.
That's when I would talk to you about risk versus reward, right? So like, what's the risk of going? And what's the rewards of going? And balance those two out, right? Because it's much deeper than pros and cons, because this isn't just dealing with like you as a person and your like mental health, but it's also dealing with what the future of Efrain is going to look like. Yeah. So is the risk worth the reward? I think that's what you have to rationalize with yourself.
I don't want to go into the rabbit hole of the AI, but
if you're gonna ask me, ask AI.
what is the long term of finance?
Well, again, like
when AI is stepping in.
100%, right? And that's what I kind of have thought about. Like, eventually, and it's already happening in that sector of the world, right? Finances, like this. In that sector of the world, a lot of trading has come down to like robots. There's people that pay for robots to be made and they trade for them. And very big, high companies have that. It's not really people anymore. And that's what I said in that episode, right? So I don't mind that. But even if I couldn't go in, and that's why I'm saying, looking at it like that, then it would be smart for me to sit there and go into the Air Force where I get these benefits and I still could come out successful in life. And that you can become a rich person. There's a lot of rich people from the military, and I could go down the list, but it's about how you play it. Because I also have one of the highest amount of homeless are military people, but it all comes down to how you play your cards.
But they also have a high addiction. Why? Because they start taking antidepressants and pain medicine and all of that, and that's the reason why a lot of the homeless are homeless, is because they get into these situations where they have a lot of pain, where they weren't able to get treated the way that they needed to, and they didn't treat their mental health, or they started getting
that's where it cuts back to, is PTSD.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's another thing, like when I've thought about it, I've done my research, a lot of the times, or a finance person really wouldn't go to war. A finance person, they are more than likely to need them a lot more, where someone that's like a mechanic, they'll send to war because they'll need them over there to fix stuff. In finances, you got to worry about a lot of different stuff in the Army. So that's why it's like, if I end up going to war, it's more because we're already getting to that point where they need a lot of people, and that's just that. And I wouldn't go in as infantry. Like, Lucas is an infantry. And Lucas's chances of really seeing war is very slim to none because of his job title. So it all comes down to what you said, like that risk to everything.
Check out episode 4, 3,
Which one?
4 to know who Lucas is. Of our podcast. On episode 4, we talk about Lucas.
We didn't talk about him last episode.
Episode before last.
Were you and Mom?
Yes.
Then yeah, episode 3.
Episode 3.
So yeah, so you know, we sitting there and actually like sitting and talking about it. It's like a lot of things where I wonder, and I don't know what really to do for the best opportunity for myself in the future. Because even with trading, even when robots start taking over, I can always make my own robot to trade for me. It's not as easy, but thanks to AI like ChatGPT, there's ways of doing it. And anybody that makes a robot after this podcast, you owe me 50% of whatever you make because the motherfucker just gave you an idea. Sorry for the cursing, but that's the truth. All right, back to what I was saying. So, you know, like, it's the truth, you know, and there's always going to be some type of work, and trading is always going to be there. There's always going to be some type of thing. And in the finance sector, it's something that I can take that to the next level where I can even decide to go into finance. And this is what me and my best friend Adrian were talking about. I can get my bachelor's degree in finance, and following that, I can go in and do a lawyer. And that would put me in a position where a lot of big companies like Chase or Wells Fargo or Capital or even like Nike and all these people, they hire lawyers for when stuff goes wrong. And can be their lawyer for the finance sector.
To be a lawyer?
I wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger. Don't you see I like to argue? I would be fantastic, fascinating, 10 out of 10 lawyer. You know? No, he's not guilty. You, wrong evidence. You know what I mean? Sit there and just fight, you know? But
all the lawyers.
I never really pursued it because it's just like, I don't know. I've come to a conclusion where I've looked at myself and I've lost a lot of things in myself. So I've never really pursued something besides like automotive. And just then I don't regret anything, and I'm proud to say that. But it was a very big decision that I should have thought about a lot more and really sat down. And that's what I've learned. I don't really think, I just kind of just do, which is not a bad thing, but it's a bad thing with how you do it, right?
You're just very headstrong.
Exactly. It's like when I want something, I'm going to go get that. And that's just how it is. And that's another thing, like business. Like my business, I'm willing to put myself in debt right now
like
for
a
it.
horse.
Exactly. I'm willing to put myself in that debt because I know what I'm capable of, because I know my limits. And the more I've studied myself, and the more like recently I've been running, and I've been running 0.5 every single day. And my time has actually gone lower and lower and lower because I've started to learn my limits. I've started to learn like I really have a high tension, and it's just all mental. And it's like you learn that the more you study yourself. And so it's like my company and everything that I do, I don't mind taking a risk. Trading, I don't mind sitting here and not being the way I want to be today or like where I want to be, because I know what I got myself into, but I know the opportunity, and that's why I like it a lot. Because I've started to see him not for the money, but for everything that I unlock with it. I can look at an actual chart now and understand stuff.
I just think that when we make decisions, you know, it was interesting.
He wants to go over there.
It's always interesting that you guys talk about the military, because my whole life, ever since, because that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the military, and I was in JROTC in school. And then I was definitely interested in going that route. So I always said that when I had kids, which I knew I was going to have 2 boys, and I did want a little girl, but that didn't happen. I always knew that I would have wanted
Or lapdog. Bella, get down, mommy. Get down. Mommy, get down.
I always wanted
Bella, get
my
Bella.
boys to go to the military.
Get down. Come on, mommy.
Because of the opportunity, because I believe in the benefits that it brings to the table, from housing opportunity to learning about yourself, because there isn't nothing that you're going to, when you sit by yourself is where you're mostly challenged to learn about yourself and enjoy yourself. Do I find that to be the most difficult part that you're going to be facing? Because you've never really been alone other than when you were in school, and I would come often to see you, or vice versa. You would go to see us. So I think that that's going to be your hardest challenge that you're going to be facing, making a decision like that. Is there positives? Absolutely, there's positives. And is it something that you need to think about? Absolutely. It's a good route. It's not a bad route. I also think that when you talk about going and being a lawyer or being a doctor or being any of those things, I always support all of those things. Why? Because I think that those are opportunities that you guys have that I didn't have, and I think that it's a great opportunity for all of you guys to do those things. You really have to sit and think about it. Is it going to be challenging? It's going to be very challenging. You have to be prepared mentally for those types of things that you're going to be facing.
Yeah.
Everybody's a stranger.
Yep. I definitely agree. Is there something you want to say about that?
Not really. I mean,
Bella.
there's not much to say about going into the military, except for you're going into a world that you have no clue what you're getting yourself into until you do it. Because just like firefighting or any paramilitary, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into until you do it.
Yeah.
And even less, like as a firefighter and stuff, you can do ride-alongs and kind of get a gist of what's going on, right? But in the military, you can't, there's no
There's no trial run.
no, you just do it.
Movie. They're so fun.
And I definitely agree with that. Like, that's the thing. And that's why it's like, man, I know I can be who I want to be. And it's like, that's my scare if I take the wrong area. And I feel like that's why, for me, the military is like the last thing. Because it's just like, you don't want to make that choice when you have so much potential. But then when I sit there and that's where I've taken a lot of, like, look back at myself and I've said, damn, like, Efrain, what have you been doing? You know, like, yeah, I got my degree and yes, I'm trading and stuff like that. But, you know, I've never, like, I don't know how to explain it, right? Like, our success just comes all differently. Everybody success for what they want to be comes at a different time in their life than what they want it to be, because God's timing is the best timing. And I've learned that, right? And for me, I'm not going to sit there and expect something by a certain amount of time, because that just puts more strain on something that if I don't get there, then I'm going to hurt myself a lot more, right? And I noticed this because for a couple years now, I've set these goals and I have hit them in different ways. And it just has made me come to the realization that maybe I'm setting these goals so much, not harder, but unreality of it, right? And that's another thing. Like, this year is my most profitable year with trading. Like, by far my most profitable year with trading. So I don't want to sign up and then end up doing really good in trading and then, you know what I mean, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I think in everything that you do, there's gonna always be pros and cons. And until you don't do it, you're not gonna know, was this the right decision or was this the wrong decision? You just have to decide, you know? There's always going to be positives and negatives out of everything that you do. So right now, I'm in one position, right? And in the position that I'm in, from a career perspective, it's not, you know, do I feel like I am somewhat defeated, you know? Do I feel like I can do more than what has already been done? Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, is it worth it, what I'm doing, right? And so, you know, as I guess I'm going back to my position that I had before as a business development from a regional operations. Everybody's like, oh, but isn't that a demotion? But it's not. They're lateral moves. They're in the same line, right? It's just one is sales and one is operations. But where have I been my happiest? And I've been my happiest in sales. It's because I enjoy creating sales plans and sales teams and developing sales strategies and building relationships with people. And that's what you have to find, is what is actually driving you to go there, and is that gonna make you the happiest? Because I think that that's what matters the most. I have no regrets of what I've done. Now I just need to move forward from what my reality is and where I'm headed. But I think that that's what you have to do too, is like you have to, I think you've been thinking about it, not sure, what does that look like for you and where you want to see yourself?
And I definitely agree with that. Like, my thing is, I don't want to go back to school and put myself in debt because I learned that. And to me, that's not a debt that I want to do, right? Because, like, for instance, like doctors, everybody's like, oh, they make so much good money. Yeah, but by the time that they're actually making profits, it's a couple years into them being a doctor because of how much debt they have to put themselves into. And it's like, for me,
look, I wanna go get my master's now, and I'm gonna put myself in $60,000 worth of debt.
you can't compare a master's though to a doctorate's.
You're right.
A doctorate's like, you're talking about six figures.
Yes, of course, $100,000 or more. I get it. But what I'm saying is, up until now, I've made good, substantial enough money, just, you know, like a doctor has. But at the end of the day, it's never been consistent, because I've had moments where I've made less than that. And so what is going to help me stay consistent in my career and even help me, right? Because I'm still young. I feel like I have so much more to give, and I still can explore my career and help myself become more stable by giving myself a master's, by going back to school and getting that.
Yeah. And that's why, like, for me, another thing has been that I've liked to really explore that side of finance, because that's what I've always felt has driven me. And I really do feel like I can do great in it, but it's just the feeling of not wanting to go back to school and having to pay for it, right? That's what bothers me, right? And I am what people would call an opportunist. You know what I mean? I want to take opportunity wherever I can. And going into the Air Force, I can take a lot of opportunities that I won't be able to take just working somewhere, right? And that's why, to me, I've been on the edge about it, because at the same time, it's like Lucas ends up picking everything on the right side of country, and he gets placed on the left corner away from everything and everyone. And it's like, if I get hit, listen, there's one thing liking it and one thing actually liking it, okay? I will not like negative 20 degrees. Yeah, I don't think that sounds
Bro, you love
anything.
sleeping in the cold, bro. What are you talking about?
No. There's a difference between 60 and negative. Negative.
But think about this. You might go somewhere and say, "Oh, I don't like this."
Yeah, maybe like Montana. Sure, why not? Maybe Texas. Why not? Alabama. Okay, cool. Alaska? No. How about we don't send me over there? You know what I mean? Like that's no.
You never know, right? You just go.
That's the risk that I'm not willing to take.
You see, but
And he says, Lucas, and my luck, and because who Lucas is, my luck, he told me that military base it's between Air Force and Army. My luck, they're gonna send my ass with him. They're not even gonna know we're friends. They're just gonna send my ass with him, knowing my luck.
you guys are gonna look like two popsicles holding each other's hands.
Exactly. Like they were like, oh, you know this guy? Yeah.
Good, you're bunking with them. We have to save money.
Right? It's like, brother.
I've already
You know what I
done
mean?
this
Like,
before.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
literally.
Share
You want
everything.
pictures? You want to see pictures? All right, cool. But
I have big risks that I have to learn how to deal with. That I have to, like there's right now. I know that now that I'm going to become a firefighter or become a fire and rescue, I'm taking the estimated is 7 years off of my lifespan. Cutting 7 years off the end. And we're not talking about the chances of me getting PTSD and me getting a bunch of mental health issues.
wow.
And then we're also not including diseases,
Yeah, of course.
dying,
Yeah, of course.
you know, and injuries, right? But you could throw all that on the table, and I would probably still tell you that I want to become a firefighter, because to me, that reward factor of being able to say that I've tried or I have saved people once every day that I go to work, way like 100 times, it's enough for me. Like, I'll take all the burdens in the world to be able to not even tell other people. It's just to know that I've saved someone's life.
And that's why, like, there was also a point where I wanted to be a firefighter, and that was the reason, because of saving lives. Like, I love to save people and be there for people. It's just firefighter to me, just after doing research and doing it, it wasn't calling my attention. That's why I was like, we go back to like the Air Force. If I go and I serve, I'm still serving the country, and I have an opportunity and I have an opportunity of serving the country where I'm
Bella
able
has
to
an
help
ear
people
issue.
and really guide them the right way. And I'm protecting this country. And going into finance, I even opened the doors of being able to maybe one day, bless you, maybe one day being able to get into like the big places, being the lawyer for the country, or all of these different things that I can shoot myself to get up there. And finance for the country is like the feds, like that would be so cool. Because I see it now, like I see Powell. Like today I saw Powell speaking and stuff, and it's like it's such a cool thing where we as Americans are sitting there. Hennessy, we as Americans are sitting there waiting for this guy to decide to be like, okay, we're gonna lower interest rates, and because of him now we have this going on, or because of him we have that going on. Like, that's so interesting to me. That is so cool. And it's a lot of different things that I look at, right? And when I was a lot younger, I really didn't care for it, right? And I wish that I did. And that's why to me, it's like if someone ever was to ask me what's my biggest advice is listen to as much information as you can. and really download it, because I feel like that's such an important thing. Because if I would have really actually listened to people and actually put my 2 senses at 18 years old, as soon as I got out of school, I would have either day traded like I have been doing now, because I had talked about it and never did it because I never researched it. I chose to go eat shit and do everything else than that, or stuck with airplane mechanics. And today I would have been a certified airplane mechanic making X amount of money, because it was only going to take me 2 years. So I would have been 20 years old. And now I'm 23 and my life has flashed before my eyes where I'm already like, holy shit, I'm 23 years old. Right. And like I said, day trading is not bad, but when you're someone that is like me, that I look at everything and I look at opportunities and I look at everything, it's like, well, I'm losing time doing something that I love, but the devil or the evil likes to get to me, where it's like, you're not at where you want to be. You're not making this X amount of money. You're not doing this. Or last year you said you were going to do this, and look at you now, you're not doing this. So there's a lot of different things that if I would have started sooner and locked in sooner, I would have been doing a lot more.
Yeah. I think to
Which, don't get me wrong, I haven't really been trading that long. I've only been trading for like, I think now it's 3 years and a half or less than that.
But I think you also have to keep in mind a couple of things, right? And I'll touch first on what Victor's doing. And that was one thing I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a doctor. I always wanted to save lives. I always wanted to do that. But I had to be realistic with myself. Is that something attainable for me to do? And so as I look at, what I could tell you is that times are changing, right? So before, if you had a lot of experience, you could go ahead and get a good job and do things. But right now, because the job market is the way it is, because AI is taking over so many different jobs already, and because so many of those things are occurring, it's fine. Because of so many of those things are occurring, guess what? There's very slim job opportunities, and when you don't have that master's degree, they're looking at you and they're gonna pick that person who has that master's, even though you have more experience than that person, just because of the sheet of paper that they have.
Yep.
And it does give you more opportunity to get a government job when you are in the military, right? That does, in that aspect of it, it is a positive. You can get more opportunities. But again, you have to think about all the other things that come tied to it. Like what Victor's gonna do, right? If we look at what Victor's gonna do, he has to think about what is that sacrifice going to look like? And thinking about the family that he's going to build in the future. Mm-hmm. And how that lifestyle is going to be for his family and his children. And all of those things. So again, just a lot of stuff to think about, but there's never a wrong answer. The right answer is whichever one you choose. There's no wrong answer. It's your life. And you're gonna do things, and you're gonna see things, and you're gonna try things, and you just gotta keep trying.
And I definitely agree with that. Like, a lot of successful people aren't successful because they tried one thing. They tried hundreds of things. And I feel like that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to try different things out, trying to do different things. And it's just like, I know my success will come when God wants it to come. Do I know I need to be in trading? Yes. Do I know that that's where God wants me to be? I can't answer that for sure, but I do believe so, because of the story of how I found trading. The way trading was handed to me, the way everything has worked, and even throughout trading, everything that has happened between it, all of those things have had happened in ways where I cannot control, and I can sit there and be like, wow, this happened because God needed it to happen this way. God wanted this to happen this way. And I've learned that so much to where I'm like, okay, I understand now. cool, this makes sense. And so I can't sit there and be mad about it, right? I can't. But that's why now I'm trying to start my own business doing different things. That's why I'm trying to get myself out there where I'm actually trying different things, and the best one, or where God really wants me to be, will take off, right? And will happen how God wants it to happen. And I feel like a lot of us find ourselves very lost. And the reason I put myself out there the way I do, because I know there's a lot of people out there like myself that want to become successful, that personally can't hold a job. I've never really been able to hold a job past 6 months, because I cannot see myself sticking to one place for X amount of reason. As much as I would want to, and as much as I care and I like that company, I just can't. It's not in me. And that's why it's like, for me to talk about how I talk about, and for me to put myself out there the way I do, I think it's very, very important for someone like myself to understand, don't give up, just try the next thing. Try the next thing and keep moving. That's why to me, trading is such a military is the last thing for me, because once I'm in it, and there's no leaving it. That right there is already, all right, cool, we're in it, let's go. You know what I mean? There's no, I can't do the military and do a lot of the other stuff I would want to do, right? So.
But my whole thing is, you've always been a child that has a lot of, you change a lot. You're not very consistent, right? You're always on the go. There's no pattern, there's no structure.
And that's a perfect example of that. That is the most perfect example of what I just said. I have never been able, which is what I just said, been able to do one thing and one thing only. Trading is the only thing that I have been able to say I've consistently done for 3 years and a half.
Yeah.
Not giving up on it, not done anything. Right now, I'm taking a break from, exactly. And I'm taking a break from social media because I'm working on myself. And the only way people would know about me or see me is because the podcast and because of the content that I'm posting. I do suck at it. I'm posting a lot more, trying to post more about the community. About the community and the podcast. But other than that, anything with trading, anything that's personally me, I'm not posting anything because I'm taking a long break from it and really doing it. And because I want to come back in January the best person that I personally can be 10x. And that's why right now I'm just focused on so much. I've been backtesting, I've been studying, I've even been reading the Bible. I've been trying to do so many things where I'm personally doing so much self-care, where God will tell me, hey, this is where you need to be at. And that's what I feel. Like, that's what I've been struggling with so much lately, because it's like I've felt so lost and so useless and so like waste of my time, where I need to do this so I can understand what I'm doing. Because there's a reason why I'm trading, and there's a reason why I'm stuck to it. Because if it wasn't, and if I didn't want to stick to it, I would have been gone. Because I don't have a problem leaving something behind.
I'm just like, and it's the same thing, right? Like, you guys play video games, and I've played video games in my lifetime. I have. But I've never been like how you guys are. Like, I can't find myself weekend after weekend, day after day, sitting in front of a computer playing video games. I'm not that person. I've never been that person. I sit in my work computer and, like, maybe it's true, maybe I do have ADHD, but like 2-3 hours of me sitting in front of that computer,
I gotta get up.
I'm like, I gotta go. And I gotta go downstairs and then I'll take some of my meetings on my phone, or I'll take them outside, or whatever the case might be, or I play with my schedule. But to me, it's always, I'm not that person. The most that I find myself doing is, if I find a show that I really like,
Binge watch.
I'll binge watch it and have ice cream.
This lady bench watches anything and anything that comes out, she's on it. If she likes it, it's over.
I was really sad about that. I was happy but sad. Today's the last day, the last episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty.
It's not a season finale, though.
It is. It's a season finale. Yeah, it is.
They're not gonna redo it.
Well, so no, there is Easter egg that saying that they might have an episode in it's fine. They might have an episode in for Christmas, and then there's another conversation that there's a movie coming out. But it's just I love love stories. I love funny movies and I love funny shows. And if I find it, I like it, like The Lincoln Lawyer. I love that show.
That show was so good. That was a show that made that show right there was the reason why I wanted to go back to do lawyer. Yeah. Why I would have loved to study lawyer. That show right there. Lincoln Lawyer is such a beautiful aspect of being a lawyer, and I was able to confirm this for like my best friend Adrian that's studying to be a lawyer, and just seeing him and watching him actually like, because he works at a law firm and all that, it's just so cool to me seeing that. And it's like, damn, like maybe that is where my passion is supposed to be. Maybe that is where I'm supposed to be, because it's something about being a lawyer I like a lot. But I don't want to be just a criminal investigator or nothing like that. I think it would have to be in finances and stuff like that. Because I feel like
you could be a lawyer for like a business lawyer, and what they do is, you look after their finance, meaning it's not like more finance, it's more, you're looking at, if an employee files a lawsuit against a company, you're representing that business, and it's interesting because Victor, when he was little, what Victor always said that Victor wanted to do was be a cop.
A veterinarian.
No, he started as a cop. Remember, as a undercover narc, which he didn't even know what that meant.
I wanted to be a SWAT when I was younger. Mine was a SWAT. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Breaking down those doors. Going into like some drug ring and stuff like that. And it was
so crazy that, that's what he would always say. So what do you want to be when you grow up? And he was like maybe 4 years old. And he would say an undercover. Anyways, so Victor wanted to be a cop, and now he's going to be a firefighter.
Victor gives me that like actual like Paul Walker lifestyle kind of thing. Being a cop undercover needs to go against like race car.
That's what he got
the hair, he got the eye. Yep, that's the real life Pope Brian O'Connor.
He was going for the narc look. But then Efrain, he always wanted to be a mechanic, and he did. He became a mechanic, and look, now he doesn't want to do that. But it's just like I started as wanting to be a teacher. That's what I wanted to be. And when I saw what a teacher makes versus what I could make, I was like, psych, I'm not interested.
Especially taking care of two kids.
But that's my thing too. Like, I don't want to, my biggest thing is like, I'll give you guys a perfect example. And I'm going to go back real quick. Gaming. That's another thing that I wish, like, to me, like, I wish I would have kept going, streaming, all of these things. Like, I wish I would have kept going, and I can, don't get me wrong, I can, but I don't know how to balance everything that I'm trying to do and everything else that I want to do. So it's like so many things that I got to figure out to get there to what I want to do. Right. And I look at streamers, I look at lawyers, I look at traders, I look at everything out there. And I really opened my eyes, and it's like, for me, it's like, why would I want to go back and why would I want to be a mechanic and make, and go and do that when I could be or study like I am now and be a trader and make more money than a mechanic, or go back to school and be a lawyer and make more money than a mechanic? Like, all of these things, you're making a certain amount as a mechanic. Yes, they have good years versus their bad years, granted, but it just makes no sense to be a mechanic and make so little money and risk so much, because mechanics, believe it or not, they have a lot of stuff. Nowadays, it's a little bit easier for them. So why would I want to go ahead and be a mechanic and make so little money when I can put more into my life because we only have one and make more money and enjoy what I do. I wasn't enjoying being a mechanic, and there was no enjoyment because being a mechanic comes with so much stress that people don't even know. Not even what you do, but an example is like when you go to a dealership, you really don't care for your car. So let's say you really aren't taking care of your car and your car is messed up, you pinpoint that on most of the time, a lot of people pinpoint that on a mechanic. No, because you're trying to upsell me. No, but people don't realize that they're driving their car super bad. And I don't like to deal with the whole point of people like, no, you fucked up my car. And I'm like, no, generally me trying to be such a nice person I am, I'm like, look, I'm trying to help you out here and tell you this is what's wrong. And it's not worth it. I would rather be a lawyer where I'm arguing and fighting with someone, telling them this person's not guilty and why they're not guilty and this, and defending them and make way more money for something that I'm getting paid for and enjoy it because I love to be there and I would love to really sit there. Yeah, maybe at first it's scary because now you're defending someone and defending like a company and stuff like that, granted. But over time, you can enjoy that. Trading, I enjoy getting up and sitting on the market and the adrenaline that comes inside my body where it's like, damn, I'm about to enter this trade. This trade can either make me really good money where I'm making $1,000 a trade in 5 minutes, or this trade's about to make me lose $250 a day, and now I gotta wait until the next 24 hours because I'm only taking one trade. So it's like different things. I look at life very different. Very different. The Air Force, the good thing about the Air Force, me going into the Air Force, I'm gonna get to travel. They get discounts on flights. They get discounts on so many things where it's like, it's cool. It's an interesting thing, right? That's how I see things. To me, being a mechanic just made no sense to me. Maybe like a airplane mechanic was maybe, and that's why we go back. Maybe I should have just stuck to that because an airplane mechanic, there's so many great benefits. Every airline, most of the time, will give you a good discount for being a mechanic. And you get good travels because of it.
Well, I'm on the complete and opposite spectrum of you guys because I saw the firefighter pay, and although they don't get paid that much, I made the realization that to me, I only have one life. And I know that I want to help people and I want to save people. And to me, I was like, I'm committed to this. And the longer that you're in the fire, like in this idea of being a firefighter, you learn more ways that you can start making a little bit more money and a little bit more money and a little bit more money. And that ends up adding up, right? But I think, and even cutting back to the police thing, I wanted to be a police officer when I was little because I always wanted to do what when you're a little kid, what do police do? They protect and help everyone, right? Or at least that's the way that I was raised to think. And when I learned more about how kind of the world goes and how life goes, to me, it was more of a reasonable, it's the same way about being a lawyer, right? Like, you help people, right? But you don't get to see the nitty gritty. Right? Like you don't get to, like when you're saving someone from a burning building and you're reversing someone's heart, and they'll literally die on you for 3 seconds and then they come back to life. You are literally saving someone in that moment in time. Police are very after the fact. They're very, and not to knock on police, right? Because it's respectable work. Right, but I can't sit there and be in a position where I'm going to end up making someone feel bad. At the very least, as a firefighter, you will always get that reputation. Maybe not with everyone, right? But I could have the mental clarity to say that I at least tried.
And that's the thing.
It's not always though.
And
not even as a lawyer, you can't do that.
But I think that at least Victor, for an example, it's a little bit different, right? Because Victor is very practical. Victor's very like, he sees things for what they are. I'm a very emotional person, like Efrain's a very emotional person. So then what happens is that it's a burden on you to know that you can't save that person's life and that person dies in your hands. And you have to be able to live with that. That, you know, you did everything that you could possibly do. But don't worry about, the fact that your self-conscious is going to burn you inside to say, what could I have done differently to save that person's life?
Not even just that, you have people that sign like paperwork that say they don't want to be revived. And they can have like an accident that wasn't even the reason why they signed that paperwork, and you still wouldn't be able to revive them because of that paperwork. And it's like my best friend Jordan has something, he's like, it's killed me inside. Because it had nothing to do with the fact, but because they signed that, I cannot save them. Yeah. He's like, I have to leave.
DNR.
I have to live with that for a day in and day out. How many people I've had to turn down, or not turn down, but how many people I've had to not be able to help because I can't. And I have to sit there and watch.
There's people that you've also saved their life.
Yep.
But they're a vegetable, or they can't walk anymore. So these are all things that you have to understand that will happen, right? Like,
some will be happy and some won't.
Yeah, there's not a happy ending to every story. But you have to be able to understand that that's the truth, right? That's something that you're going to face.
I think the biggest part that I have to learn and understand upcoming and when I'm actually on call and as a firefighter is learning that mental reset, because not everyone can do that, right? Yeah. You can't like for example, my teacher, big shout out, she has a whole course on PTSD, and you know, I think that a lot of her stuff is really good information. She gave a really good explanation about like, okay, so let's say something happens to you. Let's say you not get into a car accident, but almost get into a car accident. Or maybe not in our case because we came from Miami, so like everything's like almost a car accident. But let's say you almost fall down the stairs, but like you catch yourself or whatever. Wow. You catch yourself or whatever, but you don't hurt yourself at all, right? What are the chances you're gonna go to your coworker or whatever and tell them, oh, I almost fell down the stairs, and you're like, oh, chatting it up with them that this is what happened, right? And now you have a group of coworkers that aren't doing their job because you guys are all sharing this experience now, right? And now you have to learn as a firefighter that unfortunately there's a time and a place, right? And you have to kind of learn, talk about it, absolutely, right? But don't jump from one call to another because it'll spiral. You'll go down and you won't do your best work because you're too busy thinking about the call that just happened.
Have you ever seen that show, The Chicago Fire?
Yeah, you know, he was just calling me. Guillermo loves that show.
Oh. So I like and
watch that show.
My thought behind that is like honestly, that's in everything in life though.
Yeah.
Yeah, in firefighter it's that example, but like for an example, like for trading, for an example, I cannot take a trade, win a trade, and then my next trade be like, oh, I'm gonna win this one too. Because the more cocky I get, the more likely I will lose.
Exactly.
Or I can't get into a trade, lose, and then expect myself to be like, I'm going to lose again, or I'm going to win this trade because, again, now I'm putting these expectations that aren't real, and I mess myself over. And that's in everything, even a lawyer. A lawyer can answer to one lawsuit and then have two lawsuits where they're in the court, because I've seen it all the time where lawyers are in the courthouse all day long from one fight to another fight. And it's one fight to another fight, and they're going into the next job. You can't like go into that next courtroom thinking the same thing of the last one, because then one, you might have an opportunity where you slip up talking about the last one by mistake or something and you mix up information and stuff like that. No, you have to reset. And I think that that's a lot of things in life. Like even in pickleball is a great example. Pickleball, when you go up to hit the ball back, you got to get reset and ready to hit it again when it comes back, because it's not going to be in the same place. And that's like, I have a very, very big overview about everything. And that's why I'm thankful that I'm an overthinker, because I use my overthinking to a good balance. Yeah, evil could get to me and use it in a bad balance because I see that. But a lot of the times I really get to see things very differently that I'm thankful for. Where I'm like, oh shit, I could do this, but I gotta pay attention because this could be my outcome. And I really dive into both sides. Like that's why it's very hard, which is not good all the time because I'm very cautious, but at the same time, it's not a bad thing.
I think the difference between, and I'll let you go after, I think the biggest difference between me and you in that is that I overthink, but I don't think emotionally at all. Like I'm very line here, line here, line here, pros, cons, whatnot. And I'm very, what are the chances and outcomes of things to happen? And I break them down like that, because that's the way that I get to rationalize what's the best option for me. So like if someone were to tell me like, oh, what are like how do you feel about this? I can't just like sit there and be like, oh, this I absolutely am like except for very few things that I can sit there and tell you like, oh, you are absolutely amazing at this video game. I can't sit there and tell you that I'm absolutely amazing at a video game. I can only break down to you that I'm okay at this because I've played X amount of hours and I've done an X amount of things to be that good, right? Like I can never sit there, and I think it's different for other people because other people need to give themselves that vote of confidence. But I could always tell you that I am like mediocre at something objectively, right? But something that no one can like take away from you is the heart that you put into something, right? Because at the end of the day, okay, just to give you guys the best explanation I possibly could, when you're in the army or sorry, I forgot what branch it's called specifically, but when you're in the military and you have to pick up a log with your group and you put it over your head, it's not the person that is making the log fall all the time. That's not the person that's going to get complained at. That's not the person that they're looking for. It's the person that can be putting more work in but isn't. That's who they're gonna like actually be upset with, because that person is not doing as much as they should for their group and isn't doing as much as they can be doing for themselves, right? So like that type of person, I can't, when it comes to becoming a firefighter, I know that I have that when I'm being put in that situation, no matter what's being put in front of me, I know that I have the heart to say that I'm going to try my absolute best when it comes to learning that type of interconnectivity, right? Like I have to make those leaps mentally. And it's very different for other people. Like other people have to tie in how they feel emotionally about things constantly. And I don't think it's a pro or a negative. I think it's just right in between.
Yeah.
My take on that is it's a little bit different, because I do have to say that yes, and in every situation that you're in every career that you're in, you're going to have one person that carries more weight than the other. And it does bother you when you're carrying the most weight and then the other person that's on the other side is not doing as much. I think that in my career, and I guess more now than ever before I feel like I wasn't as emotional. I think there are two things that I have my biggest regret, especially has happened to me where I'm actively working right now, is my emotions have gotten the best out of me. Because I take pride in what I do every single day. And I prioritize my patients in every single way as possible as I can. But it bothers me when other things are not being done correctly. And I feel like in every one-on-one that I have, in every conversation that I have, it's always the same conversation. And it always has to do with so-and-so didn't do their part, or this has caused a delay on this, and why is this happening to this patient? And it always falls down on somebody didn't do what they needed to do in order for us to hit those targets or actually do what they need to do. And I accept my, I'm a firm believer that I turn around and I'll say, look, I'm sorry I messed up. Maybe I spoke to you in a way I shouldn't have spoken to you. But it is because it comes in a time where if all you are feeling is emotions, and what I'm seeing now is the backlash of that, because I've been so emotional and I've overshared my emotions. It has now caused people to not speak to me or not want to talk to me, because every time we've spoken, there's been something happening and I'm pissed off about it. But again, it's about my emotions. So I think that, part of my prayers is that I need to learn to cope with my emotions and not be as attached to those emotions where I'm reacting, instead of really actively thinking, acknowledging, and then reacting. In every career, you're going to have that, and in every decision that you make in life, you're going to have that. I don't think I have any regrets. I think that would I have done things differently? Probably. I think that I've been able to accomplish a lot of things that I thought I would have never been able to do. And I've been able to support and deliver service to my patients that I would have never been able to do that. But nonetheless, it's, careers and it all goes back to comfort and making yourself happy. What I've learned in the past 3 months where I've been in this slump is that no one at work is your friend, and do what you love, and don't only do it for the money. Because I left a place I loved that had the same values that I did, that I agreed in what they were doing, and I believed in their vision. And yes, it had its horrible things happening. But at the end of the day, I left to something else that is 3 times as bad. And was it worth it? It's not. So I'm glad that you've made the decision that that's what you want to do, because that's what brings great joy to you. It's fine. Doesn't even know actually.
So personally, I'll tell you right now, what helps me defeat that, which is being very reactionary and very impromptu and being very, as I like to call one of my new favorite words of the month. I have a thing where I just like, I pick a couple words and I'll stick to them for about a month and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe a phrase.
Okay.
And I do that every once in a while, but that's besides the point. The person that let me know I did that was Adolfo, by the way. But that's, again, beyond what I'm talking about. What I was saying is the killer of reactiveness to me, and the killer of a lot of things, is compassion. And learning how to have compassion, right? Because you shouldn't sit there and be like, I know everything about you, so I know that there's nothing you could have done better. The point is that you already did something wrong, but I know that you are, I'm gonna curse, you're a grown-ass person, right? And I know that you beat yourself up enough about it if you are right for the position that you're in. Mm-hmm. So now let's talk about how you should do that better from my side, right? But sometimes there's people, and this is going back to life in general, that don't, I won't say deserve, but they don't, it's not the right place for them. And you can tell that it's not the right place for them because they don't have the idea of that I messed up, that I did something wrong, right? They're always like, they always either shift the blame or do something else. To me, that speaks more of if there isn't something that you could have improved on, you're selling yourself short, right? But it's a double-edged sword, right? You can't just dwell on that all day. But even little things, right? Like my teacher says, you should make every day a positive learning experience, right? You should, at some point, realize that there was nothing you could do in the moment, but now that everything's happened, there's something that you can now do for the next thing, right?
Of course.
Because I'm a very big believer in the idea of positive progress, right? You want to like go through a day and learn something and do something and like have that idea that, you know what, I was, no matter what little thing, it could be you're playing a video game and you learn about this little spot inside of a video game, or you learn how to better do something. That's positive thinking in my, because you are now learning something more that you didn't know yesterday.
Of course, and everything should be a learning opportunity. You're right. But what happens is you're your own worst critic. And I think that as you step into your adulthood, you'll see that and you'll recognize that more and more. And I think that, you know, for myself is my most important job is always to be a mom. So understanding exactly, was I a good mom? Was I there for you guys? Did I give you guys everything that you need? Do I continue to give you everything that you need? Not only financially, because that's not it. It's also emotionally. You know, it sounds silly when I go in or I'm like, are you guys okay? Are you know, whatever, you sad, are you happy? It sounds silly, but it's just because I'm making sure that you're okay, because that's important to me. And I always question myself about that, you know, because that's like my one thing that I'm proud of is you guys, you know. Yes, I'm proud of that I finally was able to buy a house. Yeah, I'm proud of, you know, driving the car that I drive, or having my doggies, or, you know, having the career that I've been able to do. But none of that is important if I wasn't a good provider for you guys, if I wasn't a good mom and a good dad and a good role model that helps you guys be successful. But I hope that out of everything is that you guys have learned from me to do what really makes you happy and what drives you every single day. Because if it isn't driving you, if it isn't exciting, like I had talked about Efrain earlier, about, you know, doing the stocks. That's the only thing that Efrain's been consistent. He just got a car, he's already trying to change the car, you know, and it's like that all the time. And he's like, you know, he gets whatever, a pair of sunglasses, so that gets boring too. He gets an outfit and no, I don't. So he's very like unstable when it comes to that, but the only thing that has been consistent is trading. And so I never want him to lose that passion. Like I told him, you might not be successful today, it might take you 5 years, it might take you 20 years, it might take you 2 hours. But you're passionate about it, don't let it go, ever. Don't let it go. It's okay to not be a millionaire. It's okay. You don't have to be. But you're doing something that you're passionate about, that makes you happy and puts a smile on your face, then you're already winning. Then the next guy that you're like miserable at work, day in and day out, that you're looking at it and you're dreading your Monday through Friday. That's where I'm at right now. It's true. But it isn't until I find myself where I want to be happy again. What part, you know, was I the happiest? And I'm grateful for the opportunity of where I work at. I'm not saying that either. But what I'm saying is, am I happy in the position and in the job I'm doing today?
Yeah, I think there's two moving parts there, in my head at least, that I want to touch on. And I know that that's definitely sucks for you, right? But I guess it gives me, which I already knew, but it gives me better clarification that every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, I wake up early as hell, and I get out of that bed. I do a couple morning like stretches and stuff, and I'm excited to go to school. And I think that that's such a surreal kind of experience, is that I'm excited to go and talk to all my classmates that I've never really met before and never really talked to, and I'm kind of all getting close with. And I'm kind of shout out class 10. And I'm kind of moving through these waves of just a lot of interesting and a lot of this isn't just regular school anymore, or this isn't just regular day-to-day life anymore, where it's just repetitive or boring, or this is always at least something that I have fun doing, right? I'll wake up, I have PT, great. I get to go with all these people, and we get to like have a bonding moment where we don't know each other, but we're all like getting to know this environment as a group together. And then like even thinking about it now, like going into minimum standards and like going into practice buildings that are on fire, that are literally on fire, and putting on an air pack as a group, and like sitting down inside of a metal container while fire is shooting over, like that sounds unbelievable amounts of fun to me, right? And I don't like dread going to class. I don't dread going to any class or doing any, like I consistently love doing each and every one of those things.
And that's exciting. Like when I see that from you, Victor, I don't think, you've never been excited about anything. It's interesting because I've never seen you excited about anything, ever. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, you get excited about a movie or, those silly little things. And even as a little kid, cotton candy, I would just buy you cotton
I had
candy.
my niches, is what she's saying.
Yeah, but like, those are silly little things. But when I see your excitement, you're getting up, you're not dreading to like go to school, and like, it's awesome to see that from you. That you're evolving and that you have found something that you're passionate about. And I hope that never changes, because it's beautiful, it's great. And that's what I want all of you to do, is find that drives you.
I feel like that's such an important factor.
Call
Like,
back to episode 2, finding your motivation. Continue.
I feel like that is exactly what it's supposed to be like. That's why for me, like, I enjoy trading because I generally enjoy trading. Mechanics was something I dreaded, and because she wants to get up there, and
Oh my God.
and that's the thing, like, that's where I tell you to do something that you'll be happy with. You know what I mean? Like, that's where you need to be happy. That's where, and it's so important that you should never be that person that goes to work and dreads what you do, because it's harder on you it's harder for you to do that than someone that loves their job, you know what I mean? Because obviously it's common sense, but it's so important to really like find your enjoyment in it and find your love in what you do and what you're doing.
I think the second moving part that I wanted to talk about with that stuff is the idea of dread. I feel like dread in anything is got to be one of the worst feelings ever. Dreading literally anything. Because when you dread something, it's not, at least personally, you guys can see if you guys feel the same way, but it's not even just like, oh, I gotta go do this. It's, I am under the current feeling of like overwhelming amounts of like stress and pressure to do that thing. And that feeling sucks. And to me, overcoming dread goes in one of two ways. Like if it's a test or something that I'm dreading doing, I think about the future, right? If I don't do this test, I have to put in my position where I feel even more stress, and I shouldn't do that to myself, because I should deserve feeling happier about what I'm doing. Right? And it also comes to that type of outlook on dread, right? And then the other thing when it comes to dread is if you dread doing something that gives you the wake-up call that maybe I should not
Be there.
not even necessarily be there, but there's something that has to change for me to make myself feel better, right? There has to be some type of shift or something to cause me to be able to be happier in where I'm in, because if I dread something, all it's going to do is make my surroundings worse than they are, right? It's like the opposite of having rose-tinted glasses, right? Because if you're constantly filled with dread, everything else is going to always have the baseline of filled with anxiety.
Yep.
I feel that the way I have felt lately has poured into everything that I'm doing. And it's just because there's a lot of things that are out of my control that I want to fix and I can't fix. And so when you work and you do those things and you don't have a career, like a doctor or a lawyer, those positions, even a nurse, you have a job no matter where you go. But the most interesting thing is when you're in the situation you know, and again, nothing to do with the company that I work at. They've been really good to me. That really doesn't matter, but it's just in the predicament, right, of the situation. I have been dreading, like, even getting up in the morning, you know, putting away my clothes, doing laundry, just like those little things, because I'm just unhappy in the situation that I'm in. Again, nothing to do with just that aspect of it, but the way I internally feel.
Yeah, you're talking about you're talking about an overall thing of just life. You're not just talking about work. You're just talking about everything.
Well, I think that everything, I don't know, I'm not a person that I could separate to a certain extent, but to me everything is like stacked up like dominoes, right? And like I'm very good at resetting things, right? But mentally I have a big chance of like things stumbling onto each other. That's why right now when I do homework, I have to do it on time and make a mental note. Like right now I do my English homework on Wednesdays because that's when they're due, and it's only 1 or 2 assignments, so I'm okay with doing that, right? But I won't leave it to 11:50 and do that homework, because if I procrastinate that, then it'll snowball over to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I could always reset. I'm very good with mental, and you have to be when you're in the situation, like you have to be good at mental reset.
Yeah.
But things will, like, if I don't mental reset, I'll snowball. And to me, when it comes to stuff like that, doing the little things that make you happier can give you some solitude, but what really needs to happen is you have to develop that change. Mm-hmm. You have to implement that change for you not to. That's why I believe in learning so much, is you have to develop what to reinforce, in this case, your dominoes, right?
Yeah, that's true, and I agree to that 100%. Like inside, there's something that's triggering for me feeling this way. And so whatever that is, number one, I have to identify it. Number two, I think I have to find myself to say, okay, what is it that I want to do? What do I want to change? And how do I make it change?
I feel like basically what it is you have to find yourself. You haven't found yourself, and I feel like you haven't found yourself because of how much of a person you are. You've hustled for so long, you've struggled for so long, you've fought for so long, where now you're coming to the realization of, I need to do this. And now you're like, well, it's a lot different. You're in a big different circumstances, and it doesn't seem the same, right? And you're starting to realize these things, and Jeanette has to find herself. You have to find yourself, so that way you can love yourself and understand what you really want. And that goes for everything in life, right? And that's why I took my social media break, because I need to find not only trading, but I need to find myself. I need to be able to honor myself for who I am and love myself for who I am. If I'm sitting there every single day of my life and showing up, but I'm unhappy, then not only I notice that, but the people around me notice that. The people that talk to me every day notice that. And I can't let that get there, because then it's creating a environment of, let me guess, am I doing something wrong to that person? And that's how a lot of people see it, because maybe they don't know what you're going through. And that's the thing. That's why I'm so nice to everybody, because the truth and the matter of fact is, you never know what that person next to you can be going through. And that's why I've started to love myself, to where I can understand it's me first, and well, God first, and then me. And I'm able to really honor myself that way. That's why it's so important, even like emotional wise. I've seen in myself, and I've asked people, like, I'm a lot less emotional than I was before. And I've been able to work on that because of trading. Trading is a great example of why you should never go emotional. You should never get in a trade because of emotions. And that's how I see everything in life. You can't sit there and be emotional about everything. I'm trying my best not to argue anymore, not to do anything, because your emotions are always going to set you up for failure. That's the bottom line for everything and anything.
Yeah.
So there's actually another two moving parts that is to me, because I've lived so, I guess, logical in my life, it's finding myself isn't finding who I am or what I want to do or what I belong to. I already know those things. To me, finding myself is what makes Victor happy, what makes Victor want to.
That is finding yourself. To find yourself means to be happy in what you do, because you love yourself.
But that's what I'm saying. But it's not finding the things that you do, right? It's finding what makes your clock tick, what makes your, and it's not the first layer of like the things around you, but mentally, what is your stepping stones? What's your rocks that you place down for your campfire, right? And it's really difficult for me. Back to where I was saying before, which is for me, I and maybe some of the people out there are like me, that we're very clear cut and dry, and our hard part isn't the actual action of doing things, but why we do them. What that deep layer, we have a hard time like getting into there, while you guys are in there and you guys have a hard time like breaking out of that, right? Like, I could always separate like my emotions to what I'm doing.
It's just so impressive to me how Victor is.
You want to elaborate, or?
It's just, you're like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's always interesting to see you do it and be the way that you are.
Captivate people?
Smile, you're on camera.
That's the last thing a bank robber sees before they rob the gas station.
I don't know. I just always find it so impressive that you're that way, you know, and it's good.
And what I find impressive is you guys, and like I find Efrain, like I don't know how many times I have to explain it, where Efrain, like he has blinds to the left and right of him, and he will run straight through a wall. And I feel like, to me, I could never do that.
I could never do it either.
And do you know what I mean?
Through a wall or straight into a wall?
No, through a wall.
I mean, straight into a wall.
No.
Doesn't sound like something you're proud of.
No, through a wall. You see an obstacle, and instead of figuring out a way to go over it or around it, you will go through it.
Yeah.
I will work until I make it through wherever I need to go to get to my end goal. I'm a person that I see the wall, and I will sit there and be like, I am now at an obstacle. I have to figure out a way to either go around it or over it. And I have to put procedures in place. You are like, no, I'm just gonna continue doing it until it works. And I don't have that. And it's cool.
But I learned that at a young age from very much successful people. Successful people, they don't go around things or over things. They go straight into it until it works.
But
That's how I learned that. I learned that from a lot of like a lot of motivational speeches talk about that. Like when you're gonna deal with something, you deal with it head on and you go to it and you deal with it and you keep going at it until it works. And that's why like for trading, like if you want to succeed in something, make sure whatever you're trying to do, you put 120% into it, because it will not work with 50%.
But the way that I learned how to deal with that, which is going either over and above, it's not avoidance, it's understanding, right? Because I'm a person that if I completely and understand every aspect about this obstacle, if this obstacle ever gets put in my place again, I will now know every single thing that I have to do about it to just do it quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. So to the point where it's not an obstacle anymore, it's a speed bump. It's just go.
Yeah.
It's just go. Right? Like I had a big issue with writing in a big part of my life. Like there was a big point in my life where writing and reading was a hard aspect for me, not because...
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah. Okay. Where I was really good at math and I was really bad at reading. Now I would say I'm a little bit better in reading and writing than I am at math, because some parts of math it's just really hard for me to fully grasp, but I think everyone has one or the other, right? But as time went on, I learned that with reading and writing, it's not about right or wrong, it's about how well you can articulate what you're saying and articulate what you're writing for people to better understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I admire, I admire Efrain and the way that, he has everything that a successful person has, a financial successful person has. The innovative piece of it, the creating and the, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? And sometimes it's not as simple, right? And in that aspect, I'm a lot like Victor, right? I don't take jumps until I know. I look at everything, right? And even in my financials, right? Like I look at every decision that I make. I plan it to a T to say, okay, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for the right reasons? And all of this kind of stuff. I have to know what that outcome is going to look like before I actually run and do it. Efrain is, let me try it, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but let me still do it. And I can't be that person. I have to really look at every detail before I'm gonna make a launch.
I think
I got two things and two quotes that have always been stuck to me. Balls to the wall and scared money doesn't make money. Those two sayings I've lived my life by. When it comes to trading, if you're worried about losing $100, you're gonna lose 500. And that just comes down to everything in life. If you're scared to jump over the bridge, you're gonna fall into the bridge. You can't think about what you're jumping over, but worry about how you're gonna jump over. That's how I see everything in life. And balls to the wall just means it's like if you think of, for instance, you want to be an e-commerce, well, go full blow into it and keep going and don't stop. Nobody is ever able to tell you not to. One. Two, the other termination that you can think about it in that saying is if you're going to become whatever you want to become, you do not stop. You keep going, balls to the wall, go, don't stop. And you'll stop when you truly understand, this is not for me, let's jump to the next thing. But when you jump to the next thing, go with no stop, no reset. That's how I see that. If you fail, cool, you failed. It's literally everything in life. If you fail in life, stop looking at it as a failure. Start looking at it as a lesson. Everything in life as a failure is a bigger lesson.
Okay, since we're giving out codes.
So my concept that I've always had is whenever there's a will, there's a way.
Yep.
That's
Okay.
my quote that I've always lived by. And, you know, and it's true. Don't come tell me that, no, there is always a will if there's always, if you have the way to, like, it's your decision.
Yeah.
And every single day you make that choice. And everything that you do. So don't come around telling me, oh, no, there is a will. There is a way. You have to want it. And how bad do you want it?
Okay. So I'll say two. Well, I'll say technically three. Two of them are from Master Oogway. Great movie. But I promise you, if you really dive deep into this, it'll really make you think. The second one, I don't know who it's from. And then the third one, I already talked about it in episode 3, which was people don't remember what you did. People won't remember who you were as a person. People will always remember how you made them feel.
Of course.
Yep.
Okay? And this is the 2 Master Oogway quotes. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift, and that's why it's called the present. And his other one is, the past can hurt, but the way that I can see it, you can either run from it or learn from it.
Yep. I have a lot more, but I just, yeah.
And my last really small one, it's less of a quote, more like a mantra, is there's a reason that when you're in a car, the smallest mirrors are always the one looking behind you.
Of course, you should always look forward.
And if you take the culmination of the 3, or the 4, 3, it speaks on 2 main topics, which is the idea of trying to see things ahead and trying to see things not in a place for yourself, right? But to see things for everyone else. Because to give you context, for some reason on Kung Fu Panda, Master Oogway is...
Everybody knows Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, but some people haven't maybe watched in a while, right? So let's just quick rundown, right? There's a panda, doesn't know a lick of Kung Fu, always admired the people. Master Oogway knows everything about Kung Fu. He is the GOAT. He gets to pick who's the dragon warrior by closing his eyes, and the panda's in front of him. Now, you get to see the story of how you learn to believe in yourself. And that quote, both of them are both talking to the panda's name is Po, to Po, about whether or not he can make that decision of some things are bigger than myself, and I have to learn how to be good with myself for the people around me to also be like good, you know? And those ideas and those quotes have always resonated with me because that's who I am as a person. Like I don't need to be, I don't quote my my like happiness or like my like success through financials. I'm not a person that does that, right? I am very much of a person that if everyone around me is good, that's how I can determine my own success within what my goals are, right? And I can always be happy or make myself happy, right? I don't make myself happy through everyone else. It's more of I can determine my success through the course of life depending on how well I can make or impact the people around me. And I'm not talking about just family, I'm talking about people around the world or in my county that I'm going to be in when I save people, in my district, if I get sent out somewhere, if I learn something new, if I do anything, I love having that goal in mind to help others, right? And like it's in that point to me, it's not I'm less logical for some reason. It's not about the numbers of saving people. It's how did I impact those people?
And I think I passed that down to you guys, you know, because you both love to save people. And in my last episode, I talked a lot about bringing people to Christ, right? And we talked about that stuff and how we got into faith and all of those things. But I've always had a passion to save people. You know, from my friends to people who've had addiction, and, you know, in all honesty, right? Like, even in my own relationships, you know, I've always tried to save people. I've always tried.
There's a term for that, but I don't think we should talk about it on the podcast.
But it's true though. And I think that's what it is. And I changed my career, right? So before I was in staffing, where I was helping people, right, get their new career. And now I'm in the health field, right? And I've been in healthcare now for 15 years almost. And what was it that brought me there? Was the fact that I wanted to make a difference. And I really love what I do. You know, I love the transformation piece of it. I love the conversation. I love the looking at the patients and what is the reason why they're feeling this way and trying to help them. So I think that, you know, I love to see that from you guys. It's the fact that you guys have both, in your own ways, wanted to save lives and continue to want to do that.
I definitely agree. I just see it very differently. Like, I don't sit there and, me personally, I used to see it a lot more like how Victor does, but I grew out of that. And I grew out of that being more out in the world. I can really honestly care less of what someone thinks of me. And I learned that because of my quotes. And as well as one of my other favorite quotes is what I have tatted on me, which is, the future is easy because it doesn't exist, and the past is painful because it lives on forever. So no matter what you do in life, it is easier, statistically wise, for someone to remember you for the bad that you did to them than the good that you did to them. Because when you reference with your friends, you're usually referencing the wrong things about them. If your friend broke his leg because he fell down the stairs, you will forever remember, oh, John, the one that fell down the stairs. That's how your mind picks it up. So honestly, like, I help those that want to be helped. If you don't want to be helped and you show me you don't want to be helped, brother, hey, go for it. I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to break my head trying to help you. And I grew that. I learned.
I have to disagree with that.
I learned that very well from the streets, because not from the streets, but from what I've seen encounterly in person. Because I could say there's been numerous people that I've sat there and I've tried to teach them about Christ, and I teach them about Christ, and I teach them about stuff, and they don't want to learn. So I don't sit there and I break my head about trying to help them. I have a conversation with them, and if they want to be helped, great. I just won't sit there and really sit there and try to help them. Like, that's how I see it nowadays. Like, I will not sit there and break my head over someone that does not want to be helped.
I disagree with your statement, Efrain. I'm going to be honest.
That's why everybody has an opinion.
You're right. But I daily...
Now, hanging out with someone and talking to someone is completely different.
I daily and always, and you get really hurt when you're trying to help somebody
and they don't want to listen.
And they don't want to
You
listen.
just made my point.
But
you just made my point.
But you continue to do it. You continue to help them.
To those that show that want to be helped, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So how do you text me and tell me you want help and you want to do better in your life, but when I try to help you, you turn around and give me your cheek and you tell me I got this by myself? Of course that's going to piss me off.
But then
Hold on.
let's talk about the biblical side of that, right? Like, God doesn't just abandon you because you don't listen to him.
I don't abandon people.
He continues to support you and help you.
I never said I don't abandon them. What did I say? I said, if they do not want help. That does not mean if they text me later on and say, hey, you know what, I need your help. That doesn't mean I'm not going to help them. That's completely different. That's them wanting to be helped. What I said is if they do not want to be helped, I will not help them.
I see what you're saying, but I'm not on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm on another level of what you're saying, because I'm not on that sense of they don't, like I was trying to clarify before, their mood doesn't impact mine. That's not how it works. It only goes outwards. It never goes in, right? So I like impacting other people with a positive experience, and that makes me happy.
Yep, that's
right.
That's what I'm trying to
It's not their anger, their disappointment, or whatever impacts me. That's a whole different thing. That's not something that I think is positive for you to do, because you shouldn't see yourself as a conduit for others, right? But I like the idea of impacting someone else's life. That's what something I enjoy.
And that's why I say, like, it all depends on how you see things, because how you see things is how everything's gonna matter. I like to impact people's lives in different ways. You like it by helping them. I like by opening their eyes and doing something else. Like, everybody has their ways of seeing life, and that's what's beautiful about it. Because we could go on and on all night long about this conversation, but we would never get anywhere because we see lives completely different. I like to help people by giving them an aspiration of becoming something in life.
I think that it's not even about opinion. I think that, and you're right, yes, we all look at things differently.
There's no right or wrong answer.
And there isn't a right or wrong. And like I always tell you guys, and it's gonna happen with your children, it's gonna matter with your relationships, with your marriages. What I won't put up with might be something that you're gonna put up with. Or the way that I maybe raised you guys, you might turn around and say, you know what, I wanna do a complete 360 on how I want to raise my kids. All of those are things.
How would that even look like?
Yeah, but it could be, right? Like, I don't know, but the reality is you can, right? You could turn around and say, no, I don't want this life for my kids. I want something different. Okay. But the truth is, we inside continue to want to help others.
Of course, that's just natural human being.
But it's not everybody isn't built that way.
No, you're okay.
There is a lot of selfishness in the world, and that's why a lot of the things that are happening.
Wait. We are all born to help people. That is what God brought us into this world to do, help one another. It's all over the Bible. We as humans are to help one another. What ends up changing us is like how I started my statement. Being out there in the world changes people. That's what changes a lot of people. We are all there to help one another, because in school we help one another. We help and we look out. That's what teachers teach us to do. We'll help one another. In work, you are helped by your teammates, by your coworkers. So we are taught to help people. What ends up changing us is the world, is how cruel people get back to you, that you end up saying, you know what, I'm going to learn from this circumstance and I'm going to take it to my next circumstance. And that's what ends up changing people. People aren't born assholes. People aren't born mean. People are built to mean because of their circumstances of what they have built. Other people don't change because of their mindset and how strong they are. That's why I'm not an asshole to people. I love everybody and I would love to help everybody, but I choose how I'm going to help someone. Because if you don't want to listen and you want to keep hitting the wall, not going through it, but hitting it, and you don't want any help, then I cannot sit there, because my other favorite saying, which I was waiting for you guys to get there, you guys are gonna get there, is two sayings. You can take a horse to drink water, you can never make the horse drink water. You give a man a fish for the rest of his life, you'll never teach him how to cook.
It's not how that goes.
That's not how it goes, but that's how it's supposed to go in my mind. Which is like, basically like, you can't just always want to do stuff for people, because you will never teach them how to do it. That's like, for me, it's like in trading.
#Efrain School.
Exactly. For me in trading, I'm not going to sit there and give you all the keys. Like someone asked me, oh, Efrain, if I give you this amount of money, would you trade for me? No, because I would rather you learn a trade where you can teach your generations to come and change your life than just rely on someone. And that's why our society has become so weakening, because we want to rely on people. We rely on people for our emotions. We rely on people for our income. We rely on people for so many things, where it's like nowadays it's just about who can we rely on better. That's my saying. That's how I say things. Because at the end of the day, the money that you want to make, especially if you're a 9-to-5 person, a blue-collar person, you're relying on someone to get you there. And that's why for me, being an entrepreneur, I don't care to fail. Because at the end of the day, I know I got me and God got me. So if I'm going to fail, I'm going to get into the next thing to help me break myself up.
You see, I think that a lot of that part is true, but it comes down. I think
It's an
about
individual person's perspective.
I think about learning. To me, that idea of learning that lesson that way, I disagree on that, because I think that it's better to learn that harshness, because you're on, let's say there's a fence, right? You're on this end of the fence and I'm on this end of the fence, where you're in the idea of everyone's cruel and harsh,
Not really.
right?
I wouldn't say I got in there yet.
Well, I'm saying you have seen the world around you and saying that everyone is cruel and harsh, so I'm now going to harden my outside shell.
I wouldn't say that either. Say that the world is weak and people are hard-headed. That's what I would.
Yeah, but you before wanted
People are cruel like that. They are
you
cruel.
but my point at the end is you've hardened your outside shell, right?
To protect
Of
his
course.
own emotions. and
Exactly,
feelings.
right? I'm on the other end of that spectrum, where instead of having to harden my shell, I look at these people and I say those people are deserving of being happy, so I'm going to try my absolute best to get them there, right?
Okay, so now I have a question for you. You don't get them there. What's your feeling then?
What do you mean?
You don't get someone happy. You don't get to deliver that energy of them being happy. What is your energy? So you turn into being sad?
Huh? No. That's when you find a new way to help them. It takes. You could always. One person will always, and you see this every day, right? That's why you go and do stuff that are required with a lot of stress. You do that in groups. And that's why you have a fire family. You have a group of people that you go in there with, and they have your back as much as you do, and there's camaraderie in there. You go into any war zone whatsoever, there's groups that rely on each
So I
other.
have a question for you then.
Because because there's not a point, you should be self-sufficient, but you shouldn't have to rely on just yourself, when you should have the idea to believe in humanity.
So I have a question for you. Since you say you want to help people and you want to make everybody happy, you're saving someone and you're able to save a lady. And as you take her out, the house falls and breaks down into pieces. What you didn't know is that she had a son.
Uh-huh.
She's 30-something, her son is 6 years old. How are you going to make her feel good?
What do you mean?
How are you going to make her feel good? She just lost her son.
What do you that's a thing that you can't be in
You can't
control of.
that.
Okay,
That's
so what
what
I'm
you-
asking you is because you said earlier, you see someone hurt and you want to make them feel happy and helped. If someone in person, are you going to be able to know that she would never be helped? You cannot help her, and you're going to walk away from her being sad.
No,
I'm not gonna walk away. I'm not gonna be cold-hearted and walk away. I'm gonna try to at least console her about the idea of helping her. But the idea is, realistically, I can be compassionate enough to know that in that situation, that there is nothing that I could do to help her more right now than console her as much as I can and let her try to regulate her emotions right now and try to get her to hang out with other people that she's with, because no one wants to be saddened by themselves. No one wants to be saddened by yourself.
So
You want to be sad with people.
You deal with that even in healthcare, right? You know, when you see a note of a patient, you know that patient is coming to you and they might be dying of cancer. And you know that it's a terminal cancer, okay? Or you know that it's a terminal illness, or you know that they have a heart condition, or you know they might have COPD, or they might have a severe sleep apnea, or whatever the case might be. You know, but all you're gonna do is try your best to at least comfort them, make them feel better, or at least give them some kind of you know, understanding that you're there for them and you're helping them as best as you can. Because unfortunately, you are going to run into things that are out of your hands. And you've done everything that you possibly could. And you're just trying to help them. That's it. That's all you can do. You can't look at it like, oh, you know this. It's going to happen. You did it. But you know what? At least you helped them.
Yep.
And that's how you have to look at it.
I
I
think
100% agree. I just wanted to hear your perspective on that.
I think everyone, at the very end of the day, I think everyone either deserves to have at least someone try to help them than no one help them at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
That's why I don't see myself do that. That's why I don't want to be a firefighter or police officer. Because the factor of like, damn, this person just died in my hands. Why would I want to put myself in that predicament?
because you at least tried.
Yes.
I would.
The fact that you at least
Wait.
tried make you feel better.
That is exactly why I said it's always opinion based.
Yeah.
Because it comes down to you as a person. I like to help people differently. That's why I have said what I've said from the beginning. I like to inspire people. That is my helping. Giving someone light in their dark tunnels. That's how I like to help someone. In their life aspect and how they see their life. Someone that, like all of that kind of things, that's why I've never pursued being a doctor. A lawyer is different. Why? Because you're still seeing or giving that person light in their dark tunnels. There's still a chance of that person be like, damn, I could get out of this thanks to my lawyer. Damn, I did get out of this thanks to my lawyer. Yes, and it depends on what you do. And it depends on what kind of lawyer exactly. And that's why
That's the thing. That right there
that's
is the
why I
thing.
said, at the end of the day, no matter how bad you do, you're still, at the end of the day, you hired that lawyer with expectations you will be free. Now, could things go the opposite way? Absolutely. It all depends. And there's obviously a no-brainer case, and then there's a, oh yeah, that guy got out of it because it makes sense. It makes sense. Look at the Menendez brothers.
I have a question for you.
They were in trial again, because now people are understanding it's really not their fault. They were traumatized. What got them to that point was traumatization. It was the stuff that they have seen. So it's a lot of different things that you have to understand, and that's why I like that. Like a military person. A military person. Why do I like the Air Force? Because at the end of the day, even if I was to go into war, at least I died trying, protecting the people back at home. Completely different. That's why I like it. That's why I like what I do, what I trade. Because at the end of the day, when someone comes up to me and they say, I want to learn, not I want you to do it for me, but I want to learn, I now know that I can change that person's lifestyle forever. Not just them, but their generations to come. That's why I like it.
I have a question for you.
What?
Let's say you're a lawyer, right? Let's say it's like your second case and he ends up being incarcerated and there's little things that you could have done better on, but you're a new lawyer, right? So you learn from it. And you come to find out that in prison something happened and he passed away. Now, where is your mindset at in that position?
I, would have never put myself into that for the simple fact that I'm not trying to go into criminal. That's why I don't want to go into criminal for stuff like that.
You said business, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say you get a business and you make them lose X amount of money, right? And you make them lose X amount of money, and what does a business do when they lose money? They try to get money back.
Yeah.
Try to save money as much as possible.
Yeah.
So you indirectly caused 50 people to get fired from the company, from a bunch of different positions. Okay? And they now are all coming to you and saying, you did this. How would that make you feel, and how do you think, what mindset would you have to be at when you step foot and see those letters, them talking about it, them doing whatever?
This is a beautiful, broad, and great example. Me personally, if I am hired to do my job, and my job ends up having them lose their job, unfortunately, I cannot sit there and be like, sorry, let me try to get your job. I can't do that. I literally cannot sit there and apply for someone. But can I be there for them and express them and explain to them what ended up happening and how they can continue moving in life and how I would recommend them keep moving in life? Absolutely. I would write back to those people because I would understand how those people feel because I have seen that in my own perspective and I have seen that. So I would even be happy that they're reaching out to me and say, damn, you fucked me over. And I could be like, listen, I didn't. However, this is what I would recommend and this is what we could do to help you going forward. I don't mind giving you a hand and this is what I can provide for you with, but I cannot sit there and say, I'm sorry, because that is what I was hired to do. I'm sorry that it came out to be that way and you were the one that had to deal with that. But here is my things that I can recommend you do going forward.
And that is exactly
Hired to save the people that are readily available to me. Right?
It's the same. It's the
Right?
same thing. It's just a perspective. That's all it is.
Of course, and
Because at the end of the day,
that's what drives everybody to what they are in life.
Of course.
It's always going to be a perspective. If everybody had the same perspective, nothing bad would happen.
I'd rather turn around and tell a family I have done everything that I can to save, and that I know deep down inside I have done everything that I could to save your life.
But of course, but you always say that in any aspect. You would always say that in any aspect. A lawyer's always going to say that.
there's a difference
A
between
judge is going to say
the
that.
difference between saying it and knowing it.
That,
But that's the truth. But that's the truth. A lawyer can't expand his arm and can't sit there and tell you this, and lie to you. That's not what they are hired to do. I did everything in my power. That's the whole point of what you do as your job. That's why a doctor, it's not a bad thing to be a doctor. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but me personally, like you began,
Yeah, you couldn't do it.
it's not in my heart to want to be a doctor.
And yeah,
That's why how I help people is very different than how a lot of other people. I don't go around giving money to homeless people. I would rather give them a meal. I would rather buy them food or maybe a clothes or a towel where I'm helping them in different aspects to give them inspiration to, hey, I got one more day. If you give, and I'm not saying all of them out there, but if you give money to homeless, you know deep down there's a high chance that that homeless is just going to use that to get high. I'm not saying all of them, but I am saying there's a good percentage of them. Now, if you're giving them food, if you're giving them water, deep down, you would always be happy with yourself because you gave them hydration and something to eat that day. So then they're not going to starve to death that day. Thanks to
yeah.
you.
And listen,
Like I said, I just see it in different aspects.
and that's okay, right? Everybody has the right to see what they look like and what they feel is the right thing, right? At the end of the day, I think we all have a way of being. If God would have given me the brain, I promise you I would be in a surgeon room office right now, operating on somebody, trying to save somebody's life. Like if God would have given me your guys' brain, Victor's brain, I promise you I would have been a surgeon. I didn't get that opportunity, and that's okay. I wasn't born with that. But you guys are the step forward, right? And you are all going to be able to do things the way that you want to do. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to one thing. We're all trying to save someone.
Of course. That's just how
Whether
it
it's
is.
a business or a family, or being a lawyer and trying to represent somebody, or being a firefighter and trying to save
There's a statement about that. It says, everyone wants to save the world, but how we get there, that's what sparks opinion,
Of course.
right? Because 9 times out of 10, I don't think anyone wants to really see the world burn. And if you do,
I just think you, and there's a very big saying, and I understood it, and when I lived my life by it, and not lived, but when like I still use it to today, is you cannot expect to help everybody. That saying right there was so deep for me to really understand and grasp and drink that pill, because it's like all I ever wanted to do as a kid was help as many people, bring a smile on their face. And when I heard that, it broke me because I learned that I was doing something wrong.
So if you ever asked me, and I always remember Lucas asking me this question. He says, why do you always smile? And I said, the reason, I didn't tell him. He's like, why are you always smiling at me? And it's just because I always remember this teacher telling me, you don't know what your smile
Oh yeah, of course.
can do for somebody else.
Of
And
course.
so even in my darkest moments and my saddest moments and difficult opportunities, I always put a smile in my
Of
face
course, yep.
because you know what? Maybe my smile can turn somebody around.
I had that.
Just it.
I had that same encounter working at Home Depot. I met a guy would come up and I always tell everybody, "Good afternoon. I hope you're doing great, having a great day," or I'd be like, "God bless you," whatever. After Civic One, I said, "Hey, welcome." I was like, "How you doing? How was your shopping? And I hope you're having a great day." The guy instantly looked at me and smiled and he said, "Wow, I have never heard someone say that." I said, "Heard what?" And he said, "What you just said." I have been feeling so sad all day, and because you asked me how my day has been going, I was able to smile for the first time today. Although I've been going through something, I realize right now that I'm alive and I'm doing better than other people would be doing. He told me that just like that.
Absolutely.
And that is exactly why I tell everybody every day, I hope you're having a great day. I hope God bless you, you have a great day. Or be safe, or hi, how you doing? How's your day going? Because you never know. That's one of my biggest thing is you never know what that person next to you can be going through. Ever. That's why going to Disney, I have so many moments that it's just me thinking. Because I think about so many different things. Like the person next to you, their family could have just had a divorce, but the mom had to do everything in her power to get those kids there because that's what they were promised. And deep down, she's sad, but on the outside, she's smiling for them. You don't know what the next person, maybe that kid, so many different things could be going on where it's like that kid hasn't gone to Disney ever, and now they're 9 years old where their family can afford it, and it's their first time and they have the biggest smile on their face. You never know.
Oh yeah,
Or
of
something
course.
could be going on.
And there's people that travel to Disney from all around the world, and there is nothing that makes me happier. Not only obviously, I enjoy every minute of spending time with you guys at Disney and all of that stuff, but there is nothing that makes me happier than walking into Disney and just like I just get so emotional. Like, I see the parade, I'm crying. I see the show, I'm crying. And, I'm at Epcot and just like last time we went to the Food and Wine, just being able to me and Victor just going through, okay, we're going to eat this. Okay, we're going to taste this. Okay, what does this taste like? And, what did you like? What flavors are behind what they're cooking and what's the recipe? And us trying to figure it out. And,
That's why
it's just such a beautiful opportunity to connect with your family.
That's why to me, I love church. Not because I get closer to God, but what it brings you. Going to church, yes, it's great because you're learning about God and stuff like that. But church is the only place in the world, well, not only this, but one of the biggest places in the world that no matter how you feel, you would always be happy walking in those doors while you're at service. So many people smile, and they can be having the worst week, the worst day, and as soon as they walk through that door, just because of the energy, because of
The atmosphere,
exactly,
which is the
because
same thing that
it's
happens to
always
you.
bringing a
Contagious.
smile. Exactly, it's always bringing a smile, and that's what I love. That's why I like church. Not because you need church. Not necessarily because the Bible doesn't necessarily tell you need church because 3 or more people gathered is where God is.
Amen.
But it is good because of the atmosphere that you're around, the better people that you're around. That's why I like church. Because you're better off finding better people at church than walking down the street and you'll find worse things.
Well, and always keep in mind, right? Like, not everybody that goes to church is perfect, right?
Exactly, of course.
People are going there. It's just like when you go to a doctor's office, which is what I explained to my
Guys, the
staff.
12 disciples.
People are there because they're in need of something,
Of course, 100%.
right? And the same thing happens with church. They're in need of something. And the same thing with a firefighter coming into a building, right? That person that's on the other side is in need of help, right?
Of course.
And it's always about that, right? It's always about going and saving.
I think to me it goes past going to church. I think
of course.
you need to find yourself a group of people.
Yep.
Like me and my friends, I've conglomerated a group of people that if you asked me
5, even 8 years ago, who exactly I'd be hanging out with, it would probably be a whole different group, right? And my group is a culmination of multiple other groups, and it's all people that we're similar, but we're also very different, right? And it's not about whether or not you get along with someone because they have the same views as you. It's whether or not those people will sit there and they'll be like, if you are in need of help, I'll help you.
Yep. And that's why, like, to me, and this is my final thing, so we can end it, because this is like a 3-hour long episode, and I'm the one that
Yeah, it is.
it. Nobody here edits.
Wah, wah. Did you just say womp womp?
You did. So that's why, to me, I'm not scared of talking about God at all. But that's why, to me, God's timing is the best time. Everything happens for a reason. I have become one of those previous people that does not believe in coincidences. I believe everything we go through, everything we see, and everything we live all happens for a specific reason. What that reason may be, I don't know. I'm not God, so I don't know. But I do believe it's for a reason. And that's where life becomes so beautiful, so majestic, so amazing to live. It's not your it's not your problem to worry about how you're gonna get there. It's your problem to show up every day so you could get there. That's how I see it. That's why we're trading. I'm not making the millions right now, but showing up every day, keeping God first, and not have that mindset of the money, but have that mindset of the skill that I'm unlocking will get to me where I want.
Absolutely.
And I think like that's in every aspect of life. Don't worry about the income, worry about the happiness. And that's what we have talked about today. That's why today's episode was so important, because we talked about the happiness and saying about like, no matter what you do in life, find your happiness. And that's why today's title is Finding Your Happiness.
Yeah,
Guys.
and what comfort, right?
Yeah.
Like we started talking about comfort food and what that looks like, and so
Of course.
what ice cream we like and all of that
Like I
stuff.
said, it's literally finding your happiness in life.
Find your
What
happiness.
is your happiness?
Yep.
Love yourself if that's what it is. Find you, and you will find your happiness. Love you guys. Y'all be safe. We will see you guys in the next one. We do have a special thing. Not in this episode, but the following one. Towards the ending. And we'll talk about it once we get there. But other than that, I love you guys. Y'all be safe. And if it's in this episode, you'll see it now. Peace.